Now on Sunrise and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, the City of Victoria issues another boil water notice. The reason, that's just ahead. And an immigration raid at an LA Home Depot is being dubbed Operation Trojan Horse. Find out why. That's coming up. Plus, tariffs on 70 countries are now in effect. How you could soon see an impact.
And you will surely soon be seeing an impact on our temperatures over the next few days with high pressure getting closer and closer. Some of us might be in the low 100s. And if that's not summertime enough, well, we have some tropical activity to talk about. All that in the weather coming up.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and happy Thursday morning. We do have a boil water notice in effect right now, so before you brush your teeth using the tap, you may want to find a bottled water.
That's right. Maybe reconsider the tap for today. We're going to have more details on that boil water notice here in just a second, because starting out our morning, our Thursday, Friday Eve morning, look at live in Victoria. Well, it's summertime, y'all. You could probably expect what I'm going to say. It's warm and humid out there, but before I turn on the conditions, if you look real closely at the camera, you can see it looks a little bit blurry out there. That's because we have right now a very light layer of fog trying to form around the crossroads. Got a very pretty sunrise as well. Look at all the pink in the sky. 74 is our current temperature in Victoria, but like I said, temperature is still very slowly falling down to the dew point. Temperature at dew point is also technically dropping, 73 now. Humidity is 97%. And if you look at the fog map, you can see, like I said, it's going to be really light and patchy in nature this morning. So if you see any of that on the roads, just be careful. That'll burn off like it usually does between 8 to 9. And that's going to burn off to some mostly sunny skies, all thanks to this upper level high pressure system, very large, spinning clockwise over West Texas. Going to bring us weather very similar to yesterday. In fact, looking at yesterday's highs, got up to 98 for a good majority of us. Some of us hit 100 though. So if you're headed out the door, make sure to stay safe in the heat today. We're looking for another chance for spotty showers. So we'll look at what that's about coming up next.
The City of Victoria is once again under its citywide boil water notice. It's the second boil water notice in less than a month. The newest notice is due to levels of chlorine residual in a localized area being lower than TCEQ requirements. It's in the area of Holt Road between Business 59 and Highway 59 near Telfner. Officials say no evidence of contamination has been found, but the TCEQ is requiring a city-wide boil water notice out of an abundance of caution. DeWitt County's Office of Emergency Management is working with H2O Partners to update the county's hazard mitigation plan and is seeking community input. A public meeting gave residents a chance to share concerns and help shape disaster risk reduction strategies. Many attendees highlighted drainage problems in their neighborhoods as a major issue. Will Parker, planner with H2O Partners, says public involvement is vital to identify key issues and improve community disaster preparedness.
It's a tool for the county to understand for different types of disasters, hurricane, wildfire, flood, whatever else. Which of those risks are the biggest, what your biggest priorities need to be in terms of different projects that the county could do, the city could do to make things safer. So part of the process of putting this plan together is getting the public involved and getting their input on what people are concerned about, if they have any ideas.
The goal is not only to protect lives and property from hazards like flooding and wildfires, but also to improve public safety, build local capacity, and increase community understanding and support for mitigation efforts. Residents who were unable to attend the meeting can still get involved by submitting feedback through the county's emergency management office. Officials say continued public input is essential as they work to create a safer, more resilient environment. President Donald Trump has enacted a new wave of tariffs on several of America's trading partners. Before this morning, virtually every country's goods were subject to a minimum 10% tariff. Now rates vary substantially depending on the country. The new trade policy follows months of false starts to Trump's so-called reciprocal tariff rollout and bilateral trade negotiations. The president and his economic advisors have celebrated the considerably higher tariffs already in effect, noting that they have raised more than $100 billion in tax revenue. Some fear aggressive tariffs could lead to higher inflation and slower job growth. 5 people were injured in a shooting at Fort Stewart in Georgia Wednesday. Officials with Fort Stewart say everyone injured in Wednesday's shooting at the base is expected to recover. The suspect is in custody. Base officials say the shooter used a personal handgun in the shooting and not a military weapon. Investigators are looking into how the firearm got onto the base. Now to a controversial raid by immigration agents targeting a Home Depot parking lot. Here's ABC's Andrea Fuichi.
Protests in Los Angeles last night after an immigration raid being dubbed Operation Trojan Horse.
Bro, they got raided right now.
It unfolded just before 7 a.m. ICE agents pulling up to a Home Depot, waiting in the back of a rented Penske moving truck before opening the doors, jumping out, and detaining vendors and day laborers. The Department of Homeland Security saying it arrested 16 undocumented immigrants from Mexico and Central America. But critics claim the raid was illegal because of a decision last week by an appeals court which upheld a temporary restraining order against indiscriminate immigration stops and arrests in 7 California counties.
Whatever terms of that temporary restraining order, it's only as effective as somebody's willingness to enforce it.
DHS claims the MS-13 gang has a chokehold on the area where the raid was conducted, which is why that location was chosen.
The question moving forward really depends on whether Judge Frimpong thinks there was compliance. If she doesn't, if she decides to hold the U.S. government in contempt, and then what happens next? Do they stop these raids? Or do they continue to try and push forward?
The raid coming just one day after federal officials announced plans to expand an immigrant detention center in Indiana by 1,000 beds. Homeland Security calling the facility, not far from where the Indy 500 is held, the Speedway Slammer, and releasing this image showing a race car with a prison in the background. The car in the image bears the number 5, the same number as IndyCar driver Pato O'Ward, the only Mexican driver in the IndyCar series. O'Ward responding to the image, saying, "I was just a little bit shocked at the coincidences." IndyCar says it was not aware of any plan to use that imagery. It's requested DHS not use it going forward. Andrea Fuji, ABC News, New York.
The Texas Department of Transportation is holding 2 public hearings about a proposal to upgrade part of U.S. Highway 77 near Woodsboro and build a new roadway to bypass Refugio. The project includes upgrading the highway, building a new route east of Refugio, and improving traffic flow and safety. The project also plans to extend US 183 to connect with the new route, which will help improve a major hurricane evacuation path. The first hearing is a Wednesday, August 20th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the Refugio County Expo Center. A virtual hearing will also be available starting August 20th on the TxDOT website. Here are some of the top headlines in the Quora Record. DeWitt County Commissioners oppose a bill to silence local political voices. And 4-H ambassadors visit Holy Cross Giving Garden for a service project. To read these stories and more, visit DeWittCountyToday.com. Remember, follow us on YouTube, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. The time now, let's get a look at our clock up here. It's 6:38 on our Thursday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up next on 25 News Now Sunrise. A local shelter is facing tough challenges as more people seek help.
This morning, President Trump's sweeping new tariffs go into effect around the world. I'm Nicole D'Antonio in Washington with the details and the potential impact on your wallet.
And also coming up next after the break and the short-term forecast, you heard me say we have another chance for rain today. So coming up next, I'll tell you just when I think the rain might be here. Well, good morning, Crossroads, and happy Thursday, Friday Eve. Y'all get excited for the weekend because that's coming up quick, but maybe take that with a grain of salt because take your excitement with a grain of salt because it's going to be a little bit hot out there. It is summertime after all, and we're actually looking for weather to stay pretty much just about the same over the next few days. In fact, looking at yesterday's rainfall totals, we're looking at about the same weather today. That's why I'm showing you this. Rainfall, however, today we're going to have about 10% less of a rain chance. So subtract about 10% coverage from this map, and that's what we're looking at for today, I'm thinking. Yesterday we got up to about an average 1/4 inch around most of the area, but some areas you could see near Palacios saw as high as 1 inch to 1 1/4 inches. So not too bad in terms of rainfall over there. But for today, going to be about the same thing. Like I said, just 10% less coverage. 20% chance of rain is going to go for today. And the morning time, that'll be for along the coast. Coastal counties will have that 20% spotty showers around the area. That'll cut off, I'm thinking, sometime around noon or 1 p.m. But then after 1 or 2 p.m., we're going to have another one of those typical sea breezes that we usually see in the summertime as the land heats up, and that'll invigorate just a few more spotty showers in our Highway 59 counties and southward toward the coast. Inland counties, including DeWitt and northward, maybe a 10% rain chance for today, because in the background it's going to be mostly sunny. If you don't see the rain, that'll heat us up to about 98 here in Victoria. Looking at your almanac, that's 2 degrees above where we're supposed to be, with heat indices accompanying that as high as 107 to 115, especially along the coast. So y'all please stay safe in the heat. It's going to be with us all the way into next week, including some tropical activity, and we'll look at that next.
Overnight, President Trump's new tariffs on several of U.S. trading partners went into effect. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with the details and the potential impacts.
This morning, President Trump's sweeping new tariffs now in effect on nearly every U.S. trading partner. The tariffs range from 10% all the way up to 41%, with nearly 70 countries impacted.
The tariffs, I think, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs.
The White House says the rates were determined largely based on the trade deficit the U.S. has with those trading partners. It comes nearly a week after President Trump delayed his so-called reciprocal tariffs on some of the country's top trading partners. Trump says the tariffs will incentivize companies to build more products here in the U.S. However, experts caution these tariffs could cost Americans more money on everything from electronics and toys to clothing and furniture. A report from Yale Budget Lab shows it could cost the average household an additional $2,400 this year. The White House's top trade advisor defending Trump's new tariff policy, saying it will level the playing field.
If you and I had this conversation in the first term of the Trump administration in 2018, you would have asked me the same question, and you would have had people's heads on fire saying there would be inflation. There was no inflation. So that's not going to be a problem this time around.
At the White House this week, the CEO of Apple announcing a $100 billion investment in U.S. production, allowing the company to avoid a steep new tariff on foreign semiconductors.
But at most, we could be maybe 3-5% of production that would be in the U.S. versus the vast majority that will continue to be in China as well as India. If you produce anything in the U.S., by definition, it's going to raise prices.
When asked whether he's concerned about tariffs raising prices for American consumers, Trump saying the only price that spiked is the hundreds of billions of dollars coming in. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And that leads us to your viewer poll. Let's take a look. We're asking you, do you believe tariffs will help U.S. businesses? 44% of you say yes, 53% of you say no, and 3% of you say you're unsure. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. The Salvation Army of Victoria is looking for ways to meet the growing need of its shelter. The Salvation Army has a shelter capacity of 18 bunk beds. Victoria Commanding Officer Captain Kenny Jones says he's continuously over capacity each month, housing more than 20 men each night. The beds are available for men who are either working, need housing, or both. At an average of 126% capacity each night, it means some needing assistance are having to be turned away. It's a constant challenge for the shelter as demand keeps growing, but space remains limited. Captain Jones says they're doing everything they can, but the need is overwhelming.
You always want to have more room than you need, but as long as I've been an officer, I've been around the Salvation Army almost 19 years, and I've never seen that happen. I've never been at a place that we have more room than we need all the time.
The Salvation Army limits the length of time a man can stay in the shelter to 30 days, with some exceptions for that to be longer. The Salvation Army is working on plans to expand shelter capacity, which would also include women and families. For now, Captain Jones says he's dedicated to supporting men who rely on their services to reshape their lives. And here are some of the top headlines in the Port Lavaca wave. Calhoun County Commissioners okayed Seadrift Street rehab and excavator financing, and the Memorial Medical Center Board of Managers goes over its April, May, and June financial statements. You can read these stories and more at portlavacawave.com. The football preseason is here. If you're looking for something fun to watch this weekend, tune in to support some Texas teams. On Saturday, from 3 to 6 p.m., the Houston Texans will play the Minnesota Vikings. You can catch it right here on ABC. And if you want more football right after that game at 6 p.m. on KMOL, you can also watch the Dallas Cowboys take on the LA Rams. That's all happening this Saturday, August 9th. The time now, it is 6:46 on our Thursday morning, still to come on Sunrise. Last night, a major airline came to a sudden halt, grounding thousands of flights and stranding passengers nationwide. All right, it's time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy birthday to Selena. Happy 7th birthday, Selena. We love you so much.
Oh, look at that sweet picture. Happy birthday, Selena. And also happy birthday to Andrew. Happy birthday. Hope you have a great day today. Lots of love from Mom and Pops.
Happy birthday to Gabriella. Happy 28th birthday, Gabby. Love from Mom, Dad, Kat, Jazzy, Ashai, Aaliyah, and Grandma.
Happy birthday, Gabby. And also happy birthday to Charlize Theron, the Mad Max Fury Road star, who also won an Oscar in 2004 for her role in Monster, turns 50 today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Charlize. And if you want to submit a birthday wish, head on over to our website. You'll be able to submit a birthday photo and a birthday wish. The time is just about 6:48 on our Thursday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today.
That's right. Happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure a lot of y'all saw this 7-day forecast a few moments ago, and you saw the heat. It's still with us, but you also may have seen the rain chances. They're going to be sticking at 20% all the way into next week. Maybe a little bit of a lesser 10% chance for tomorrow with a little bit more sunshine. That'll heat us up. But these temperatures you see here, they're pretty much right on par for where they should be. Average this time of year is 96 degrees. So we're just sitting a couple degrees above that. So we're not super duper stinking hot like we have been in the past. So all that's pretty normal for summertime. Those 20% rain chances will come off those summertime sea breezes, also typical of summertime. And also typical of summertime, it's hurricane season. We're going trotting along the way through August. And we still have a few tropical areas of possibility that we're watching out there right now. Good news is from yesterday, that since y'all last saw me yesterday, we've removed this area of tropical interest right here in the Gulf. There was a green bubble area there because we're still watching a tropical wave right here north of the Bahamas. It's going to move west into the Gulf over the next 48 hours, but it's no longer expected to form into anything because of wind shear above our heads. But that's in the short term. In the long term, we need to really be watching this green bubble right here between the 12th and the 17th of August. That's going to be late next week into next weekend, not this coming weekend, because we're watching this tropical wave right here that just came off the West African coast yesterday. All three major computer models have this turning into a hurricane in the Caribbean and going right into the Gulf. So we're going to have more on that later this week and next week, and more later on Sunrise.
Chaos at airports across the country after United Airlines grounded all of its flights. Here's ABC's Lionel Moise.
One of the largest airlines in the world grinding to a halt last night.
The whole terminal is full of United airplanes that are not going anywhere. This is something that I have not seen in 26 years.
Just after 6 p.m., a system at United Airlines that calculates weight and balance and tracks flight times went offline, triggering ground stops from Newark and Denver to Houston and Chicago.
There's a system-wide outage right now, preventing everyone from getting their takeoff numbers.
Passengers stuck on planes for hours, more than 1,000 flights delayed, dozens canceled.
Thought maybe they'd bring some stairs out or something, but they said they couldn't bring any of the planes out of the gates, so we couldn't get into a gate.
By 10 p.m., the system was back up and running.
Everybody's out here cheering, so we're doing well now.
But the delays and cancellations setting off a domino effect, stranding passengers across the country.
Modern technology, I don't understand. It's supposed to make our life simpler and easier, and all it's done for me is frustrate me.
The outage coming just weeks after Alaska Airlines was forced to halt all flights for hours because of an IT outage of its own. And last summer, Delta canceled thousands of flights due to a system outage triggered by a faulty software update. Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. New information suggests last winter's fires may have had a higher impact than first thought. January's fires in Los Angeles may have killed hundreds of people. Officially, the Palisades and Eaton fires are blamed for killing at least 30 people, but a study published in the Journal of American Medical Association on Wednesday says the number is likely much higher. Researchers are pinning 410 additional deaths caused by things like exposure to poor air quality and healthcare delays to the fires. The man suspected of killing 2 Israeli embassy staffers in Washington, D.C. has been indicted on federal hate crime charges. Elias Rodriguez faces 9 counts, including a hate crime resulting in death. The indictment includes special findings that could allow for the death penalty. A 22-year-old Army soldier was arrested Wednesday, charged with attempting to send sensitive information about U.S. battle tanks to Russia. Federal prosecutors say that Taylor Lee offered assistance to Russia and sent technical information about the battle tanks online in June. Officials say Lee is an active duty service member stationed at Fort Bliss in Texas and possesses a very high top secret clearance. After 25 years with NASA and one unforgettable mission, astronaut Butch Wilmore is retiring. The announcement comes less than 5 months after he returned from an unplanned 9-month stay aboard the International Space Station after problems with Boeing's Starliner spacecraft. Wilmore, a Navy veteran and test pilot, flew on 3 missions, including one aboard the Space Shuttle Atlantis. A new government report is raising concerns about the typical American diet. Ultra-processed foods still make up more than half of the calories consumed by children and adults, even though the numbers have improved in recent years. That's from a U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention study published Thursday. Ultra-processed foods are usually high in calories, added sugar, sodium, and saturated fat, and low in fiber. And we want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And if you're at work or somewhere close to a computer, you can also watch our newscasts. They play in a loop on crossroadstoday.com. So you can tune in a little bit later, but also you can watch it on your own time. Let's go ahead and see what the forecast is looking with Parker.
Well, good morning, Crossroaders, and happy Thursday. Looking live in Victoria, we do have a very, very light layer of fog trying to form patchy around the Crossroads this morning. You can kind of see that on the camera. It does look a little bit fuzzy out there, but we also have a very pretty sunrise, so get out there and check that out. If you're headed out the door to go see that, 74 degrees is what we're sitting at, but look at that. Like I was saying, the temperature has officially fallen to the dew point. 100% humidity is what we're reporting right now. In Victoria, that's what we're looking at on the visibility map, about 3 to 3/4 mile visibility. So, like I said, it's going to be a really light fog. Nothing to really worry about. Just be careful if you see any thicker stuff around the roads. Otherwise, that'll burn off over the next hour, hour and a half. And we're looking mostly sunny today. High of 98 today in Port Lavaca. Yesterday, y'all were 98, 99. With some spotty showers possible on the coast. That'll be in the late morning all the way through about 4 p.m. And the inland counties, Highway 59 counties, Victoria, looking for a high of 98 today. Spotty showers possible in the afternoon time, not so much in the morning. And in the inland counties, we're talking DeWitt and northern counties, high of 99 today, a little bit less of a rain chance, a little bit more sunny over there. But if y'all don't hit 100 today in Cuero, y'all might hit 100 tomorrow with it going to be a little bit hotter. And if the heat isn't for you, well, unfortunately, it's going to stay with us all the way into next week alongside that 20% rain chance.
All right. Thank you, Parker. And thank you all for being with us this morning. Join Shauna, Dawn, Maclovio, and Max for 25 News now at 5, 6, and 10. Have a great Thursday.